Hello, I'm Garrett Godfrey, and welcome to the Crowdfunding Christian Music Podcast, where I'm working to connect artists with fans and fans with artists so that you can find and fund the music you love. This is episode 46, recorded Thursday, April 7th, 2016. Think of me as both your tour guide and filter as we look at some current campaigns by the 77s, Thrice, and Kevin Max. I hope you enjoy the show and find something you can connect with and fund. So before we get into the campaigns, I just want to remind you that the show notes will have the timestamps and the links for all these campaigns. So if you want to jump around or if you want to dig deeper, that's there. If you want to know where to find those show notes, you can find them in the YouTube comments or you can find them on the website crowdfundingchristianmusic.com. If you do back any of these campaigns or if you just want to help them get more visibility, be sure to post it on Facebook, tweet about it, mention it on Google+, mention it in real life to your friends, and spread the word. Maybe mention this show too. If you want to send me feedback, head over to the Facebook page for the podcast, like it, and message me. Follow at The Other CCM on Twitter, shoot me a tweet, or you can email me, feedback@crowdfundingchristianmusic.com. So, on to the campaigns. First up are the 77s, one of my all-time favorite bands, and if you watched or listened to episode 34 last year, when I covered the remastering of the 1, 2, 3 box set and Sticks and Stones coming out on vinyl, you already know what a big fan I am. And thanks go out to Matt Crossland over at Down the Line Zine for helping to bring some exposure to this campaign. This time around, they've got a Kickstarter campaign for reissuing the album Pray Naked on CD and vinyl. Now, it's been out of print for over 20 years, or about 20 years, and this time around, it'll be a multi-disc set with lots of extras and on vinyl for the first time, and this will be remastered. So let's hear Mike Rowe talk a little bit about this project and this campaign.
"25 years ago, I walked into an ice cream store, and there was this teenage girl sitting there. She had a t-shirt on, and it had these African ritual masks. And on the shirt it said, 'Pray naked, take off those masks.' So I thought, oh my gosh. So I went up to her and I went, 'Where did you get that shirt?' And she kind of looks at me sort of embarrassed. She goes, 'A church.' And I went, 'A church?' I said, 'What kind of church?' She kind of looks at me really sheepish and goes, 'Messed up one.' Anyway, I was so astonished. I saw the entire future, and I knew that it would belong to the 77s.
Hey! Hey! Pray! Pray! R-A-Y-N-A-K-E-D! What's that spell? Pray naked! What's that spell? Pray naked! What's that spell? Pray naked! What's that spell? Pray! Hey!
Here we are 25 years later. Low Fidelity Records is proud to re-release, remaster, expand, and make utterly groovy our album called The 77s, which many of our fans called Pray Naked. This is one of the most requested reissues that we've ever had, and we're going to be making it on deluxe remastered CDs, multiple bonus discs, and for the first time ever, and I'm really excited about this because I just got a new turntable, vinyl. It's going to be very groovy. And this fall, I'm going to take the album on tour, and hopefully David Lenhart will join us on guitar, and we're really excited about that. Contact booking at low-fidelity.com for details on that, on how you can bring this tour to your town in October. So anyway, we're really excited to have all this back in print, and this Kickstarter campaign is to help fund it so that it can happen and happen in the most groovy way. So please pledge your support, and we'll see you on the tour.
1, 2, 3, 4!
And yes, I said groovy. Count them 3 times, because this is going to be groovy.
So the goal for this campaign was $17,000, and I just hit refresh to see if they were quite over it. This only launched like last week. It's already just a few dollars away from the goal, with almost 300 backers, bringing them within just a couple $100 of the goal. And they still have 3 weeks to go. This campaign closes April 30th. So for $10, you get a download of the fully remastered original 12-track album. For $15, you get the download that also includes the deluxe version, which is basically a second album of bonus materials like outtakes and demos and live material. For $20, you get the Uber Deluxe download, so that's actually 2 albums of extras on top of the original 12-song album. Or for $20, you can get the deluxe on CD with the one CD of extra bonuses. For $25, you can get the album on clear vinyl. For $30, you can get the 3 CD Uber Deluxe set. For $35, you can get the album on gold and black vinyl. For $45, it's vinyl with white, gold, and black in a heavy splatter pattern. And if you want vinyl and CD, no worries, just pledge for the vinyl and then tack on whatever the cost is for the CD package you want, and then just message them so they know why you paid extra and they know what to ship you. You really need to check it out. And, by the way, they're going on the road later this year. You heard about that? So if any of you are out in Arizona, hint, hint, able to bring them to town, hint, hint. So I'm also going to play a bit of a track from that album, just in case you haven't already paused the podcast to go back and back the campaign. So this is a little bit of the song, The Rain Kept Falling in Love.
I would give any money to see the sky again, sun, but I let it rain till it pours off my tears, let me drown. Rain on, rain on.
Next up is Thrice. Now, they had essentially called it quits back in 2012 after 8 studio albums, but they got back together and completed their 9th full-length album, to be titled To Be Everywhere Is to Be Nowhere. And they're running a pre-order campaign for it, so let's hear some of the first track released, titled Blood on the Sand. And by the way, thanks to HM Magazine for running a story about it and mentioning this pre-order campaign and having the link to the video right there on the link. So I'm going to play a little of the track Blood on the Sand. Hold on just a second. My page just reloaded here. Or rather, the video just hung. So here we go.
Hands of properties and their congressmen. But I've seen too much. Yeah, I've had enough to raise a shout to make it clear this has to end. There's blood on the sand, there's blood in the street, and there's a gun in my hand. Oh, there might as well be an psycho bed. I'm so psycho bed. We panic at the sight of different color skin. We've got a plan to justify each mess we're in. But I've seen too much. I've had enough to take a stand to make it right. This has to end. There's blood on the sand.
Now, this album is due to be out May 27th. You can pre-order the CD at their own website. It's thrice.shop.musictoday.com. You can get the album on CD for $10. For $20, you can get black vinyl. And then there's a shirt with the artwork for $25, a hoodie for $45 with the artwork. You can get a slip mat for your turntable for $12, and all kinds of bundles where you can mix and match. So be sure to check that out. And if you're not convinced still, and you haven't paused the podcast to go pre-order it yet, I'm going to play a bit of the song, Come All You Weary. So here you go.
Come all you weary, move through the earth. Spurned fine restaurants, kicked out of church. A couple of clothes to sit down at my feet. Lend me a reason, we'll break bread. Come on, you weary. Come gather round, give me some rest for your
And that was Thrice. Next up is Kevin Max with the PledgeMusic campaign for a new album of new wave-inspired music to be entitled Playing Games with the Shadow. And it looks like he's got Lynn Nichols, John Mark, Painter, Stu G, Steve Hindalong, a whole crew of other great musicians working on it with him. When you pre-order with Pledge, you immediately get to download the first 8 songs of this album. Plus, he's working on more songs for the album. So let's take a listen and watch the single, the video he's got for the single called The Girl with the Tiger Eyes. Here we go. Oh, I'm going to try that one more time. And if you're just listening, the video is very old 80s, almost video game type graphics and look to it. It's pretty fun. A little bit of a Blade Runner sort of font. So let me just tell you a little bit about this. For $10, you get the download of the album. I mentioned that you get the first 8 songs immediately. For $15, you get the CD and the download. For $25, the CD is signed. And then there are all kinds of other stuff, including shirts, phone or Skype calls, poetry, journals, poetry with illustrations by Jimmy Abegg, tickets to a special concert, and more. And if that wasn't enough to make you pause the podcast and go over to Pledge Music to back it, let me play a snippet from the track William Blake. Now, in my book, anybody that has a song about William Blake is awesome. Terry Scott Taylor introduced me to William Blake back on the Vox Humana album for Daniel Amos, and I have been a big old fan of Mr. WB ever since. So here's a little bit from Kevin Max singing William Blake.
flowers hanging from the trees. I hear songs of kings through poetry. I make moments out of everything. It feels so warm when I am dreaming, where England's gates are always swinging, the fountain's joy is ringing. Hillside towns and empty dales are whispering the winsome tales of William Blake.
And I wanted to take a look back at a campaign in the past and give you an update. So since we were talking about the 77s a little bit ago, if you backed the Sticks and Stones vinyl reissue, here's the news. They recently said in an update that the records should ship from the Czech Republic May 1st. So keep your eyes open come May. And Young Oceans, I'd covered their pre-order campaign just last week, and the album comes out tomorrow, April 8th, but I already got my CD, and it's great. So that's it for the campaigns this episode, but I'd like to ask you to do something. If this is your very first time watching or listening, please subscribe over iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever. And if you've been with me on this podcast for a while, please leave me a review. You can go over to iTunes or wherever you found the podcast and leave a review. You can head over to the crowdfundingchristianmusic.com website, and I've actually got a link all the way over to the right called What Can I Do? And it's got steps that I just walk you through all the steps of, how do you follow on Twitter, on how do you like the page on Facebook, how do you follow it on Google Plus or subscribe on YouTube, or how to leave a review in iTunes. So as long as it hasn't changed drastically since about a year ago when I put that together, that should be working just fine for you. And if you like the theme song at the beginning of the show, I'll leave you more at the end. It's called Hypostatic Union. It's by a group out of South Africa called the X Structure, and all their music is over at Bandcamp right now at Name Your Price. So be sure to check them out. Keep coming back. There will be lots more campaigns to cover soon. And in the meantime, you can message me on the Facebook page. You can tweet at me at the other CCM. You can use the submission form up at the top of the website, or you can email me, feedback at crowdfundingchristianmusic.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'm Garrett Godfrey, and I will see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.